In a short while, the winner of the keenly contested Talensi by-election will emerge. Counting is underway after by-election ended an hour ago. But the election did not end without some unpleasant events by political parties and their supporters. Earlier, there were gunshots ringing through the Talensi constituency capital, Tongo, with NPP Vice Chairman Freddie Blay and two others attacked. There was also chaos and confusion, especially at the offices of the NPP. All 8 candidates are sure of victory and a winner will soon emerge. So who emerges winner after counting is done? And did we need all of these violence to elect just a single person to represent the Talensi constituency in Parliament? This is today's big story. My name is Barima. Over 30,000 electorates have casted their votes in 74 polling stations in the Talensi constituency. The election started well this morning until around midday when reports of attacks started coming in. There were accusations from the NPP camp that the police looked on whilst the men went on rampage, firing guns at the NPP officials. The Talensi election became necessary after Robert Monsori resigned as MP after he was installed as the Talensi chief. We'll be getting our regional correspondent Albert Sori to give us some updates. We'll also be gauging the mood of the CDD and then also some political scientists. We'll also be talking to the police in the Upper East region, and we'll also be speaking with some politicians to find out who and what they're expecting after the votes counting. We'll be back on today's big story. Now we have Albert on the phone, I'm told. Good evening, Albert.
Hello, good evening.
Well, Albert, in all of these, we've seen all of the things that have happened in the Talensi throughout the elections. Voting has ended and counting is underway. What is new in Talensi at the moment?
Well, nothing has happened since the last time we talked about all the violent incidents. There haven't been any more violent incidents since then. I have been stationed at the MPP office since the incident started, and everything was brought under control. Eventually, the Nasara coordinator had called the youth and tell them to move so that they go back to the polling stations where they can protect their votes, all of that, because it is at the polling stations that they will actually determine the fate of the party, not by violence. So since then, everything has been calm.
Earlier on, we had speculations of attack of some NPP leaders, and I'm talking about Freddie Blay, Sir John, and others. We had people vandalized the NPP office. We saw some destroyed vehicles and so on. Now, if this is true, what is the degree of injury and damage?
Well, the incident happened at a place, at a location that I wasn't present, and they were moved since then to the Bolga Regional Hospital. That's what I understand. So I haven't been able to see them. I can't speak exactly to the injury. It was almost at the same time that I heard about the incident and was about to move that the incident at the MPP office happened. So I stayed, and then I had to follow up. I had to follow what was going on.
So you witnessed the vandalizing of the NPP office.
Exactly speak to.
Did you witness that? The attack on the
I witnessed
NPP
the
office?
incident at the MPP office because I was close to the place when everything started. So I witnessed everything that went on.
So you've been speaking with some people from the office. What have they been telling you?
Well, they were alleging that they actually said that they were there when these people, they called Azoka boys, came in two pickup vehicles and started firing at them. And they accused the security who were stationed there of doing nothing to stop them. So they also decided to attack them.
Okay.
In the process, they vandalized one of the vehicles, that was following the two pickup vehicles that had these gunmen who were shooting. So that's how the incident started. And the police and military had to move in. And I saw these macho men holding sticks and, some of them holding metal. There was a whole lot of confusion on the road that is just in front of the MPP office. It was a very serious scene.
So what can you say about vote counting now? Hello, Albert.
Hello?
Yes, I'm asking about vote counting because I'm sure it's underway now.
Yes, I'm currently at the Tongo Community Center polling station, which is not too far from the MPP office where the incident happened. And they are still sorting out the ballots. But apparently, because of the incident that happened there, there's heavy security presence there. There are about 4 military patrol vehicles, some other police vehicles as well. A lot of, reinforcement seems to have been called, and there is heavy security presence. But counting has not started, even though I can confirm that voting has ended at this polling station.
Hello, Albert. I would have you hold for a minute and go to Albert Kofi Mensah Brampa. He's programs director at the CDD. He joins us via phone. Good evening, Mr. Brampa. Many thanks for your time.
I'm Kwabena Brampa Mensah, not Kofi.
Okay, well noted. Now, I know you sent about 30 officials to observe the Talensi election. What has been your observers' report? What have they been telling you?
Well, thank you very much, my sister. As we issued the midday report, some of the incidents have not come up. As you could see from our report, we reported of minor incidents that happened concerning 3 people who could not vote because they could not be detected or verified by the biometric device. And also, I reported that the polling setup delayed a bit. Happened after 7 o'clock as stipulated in the law. Aside that, we did not record until just this evening that one of our observers sent pictures of a vandalized Nissan patrol and a crowd that you could see in the pictures running away. So we had to call from the office to find out what actually happened. And it's the same report that I'm listening from your observers. I mean, that sort of attack from the 2 leading political parties, the camp of the 2 leading political parties. We yet to get official reports filed by our observers to see as to how the whole thing started.
Well, so there were some pockets of violence during the election. We know it's ended now, but there were some attacks here and there. But we don't want to be listening to the political parties because you know how they can accuse each other. But your observers on the ground, what really were their observations?
Well, that's exactly what I've narrated to you so far as what they've sent to us. The latest one we got, the first chapter, in elections, we do issue 2 statements. The midday situational report that captures the setup and the voting processes and the secrecy of ballots. We did that, and up to that time, we had not witnessed, observed any violent incidents. But as I said, just this evening, our observers sent us pictures. And we had to call them from the coalition center to find out what actually happened. But unfortunately, none of our observers was at the scene as it happened. But they got to the scene after the incident had happened. And the way Kodio reports, we can't take third parties' observation into our report. So we have asked our regional coordinator and our Tamale manager to go to the field and actually get first-hand information, which I'm sure we'll put into our close of polls report.
Well, as at midday, your report showed that everything was peaceful and you were expecting a peaceful election. Were you surprised with the turn of events, with the twist, with all the attacks all over?
Well, I wasn't surprised at all. If you didn't listen to me from your interview you had with me yesterday, the Multi TV, I did give some indications as to the tension and the fact that Upper East Region itself is a security zone that has been marked as such. And I gave indicators as to what we should be expecting, even though I did not expect a sporadic reaction from the opposing parties. But we were expecting some minor incidents as has happened. The reason is not far-fetched. In the lead up to this contest, even before the final rallies were held, the tension has started created. And also, in almost all the special elections that we have in the country, when I say special elections, I mean rerun, intra-party contests, and by-elections. These are some of the issues that come up. It's all because it's only one attention area, and there's enough resources to mobilize both personnel and resources, and it brings the convergence of both bad nuts and good nuts in the area. So definitely we expect some of these things. That's why I recommended heavy military and police presence, and that's really what's happening. So I wasn't surprised at all when I heard some of these things. I'm happy the police was able, or the security personnel were able to respond appropriately.
Mr. Brampa, let me have you hold a minute because our regional correspondent is still on the line. I'll find out some few things from him. Albert, if you're still there, what can you tell of the atmosphere? Well, I'm told Albert's line has dropped. Let's go back to Mr. Brampa. You predicted yesterday that the seat could be won by the NDC. Looking at events, do you still stand by your words?
Well, my sister, you know, when I do the analysis, I don't do it as if I'm a soothsayer. I do it based on facts on the ground.
Right.
And the analysis I did yesterday, I was just painting a picture as to what has been existing in the Talensi constituency over the years. And the fact that the MPP won the seat did not also give the clear majority to the MPP, even in the presidential results. And the vote margin in the presidential results of some 8,000 did indicate that the Talensi voters voted for MPP parliamentary candidates based on anger. And if they are able, the NPC is able to put its house together, I don't see why with this clear margin the MPP can overturn the ruling. But it's an election. Let's wait and see how the results goes after close of polls today.
There are people who feel that this Talensi, the outcome of Talensi will make an impact in the 2016 elections, and we've heard the president even making similar comments. Is the Talensi seat a big deal?
No, not at all. Not at all. And I did also say that yesterday. What actually will happen after the elections today, whoever wins, is going to just give the fellow the bragging rights. It's only because if the NDC win, it's going to re-emphasize some of the statements that they made on the final rally, especially what President Mahama made. And if the MPP also wins, it's going to invigorate their campaign message they started already and build upon that the NDC is not doing anything, and therefore the people have lost trust in the NDC and they are likely to win. That's the only bragging right. But looking at the seat itself, if the NDC wins, it doesn't tell any different story because they've been winning over the years. If the NPP loses, it doesn't tell any story because they've been losing over the years, with the exception of winning the parliamentary seats in the 2012. So I don't see how and why this constituency, which is not a strange constituency originally, is going to make any difference in 2016.
But do you agree that the difference will be just marginal between the two parties, the NPP and the NDC?
With the intensity of the campaign that has been launched now, and let me also give some indicators. I wouldn't be surprised if the NPP pulls surprise or get closer they imagine. Because you know what, in our traditional setup, people do respect and revere their traditions and their traditional authorities. With that statement that came up accusing some of the MPP sympathizers of consulting the Jujuman, in spite of the fact they are explaining that they did visited a traditional authority and just went by the traditions of the land.
Right.
That is, and with the statement that was issued thereafter, can do something to at least within that traditional area change some results there. These are some of the things that can help the MPP to bridge the gap or pull a surprise. Aside that, I think it's going to be a normal terrain election that whoever has been winning has the opportunity to win again.
Many thanks to you, Mr. Brampa. We're really grateful for your time on today's big story. Let's get on to the other phone lines because Dr. Ali Deseidu is on the line. Good evening, sir. Hello, good evening, Dr. Ali. Many thanks for your time on today's big story. Dr. Ali Deseidu's line has dropped. We'll be trying to get him back on the line. But we've been talking about the just ended Talensi elections. Voting is still under. We just spoke with our regional correspondent, Albert Sorry, and he tells us that everything is under control. Everything is cool. I mean, we earlier heard some attacks, some violence, pockets of violence here and there, and some accusations. We also heard the police being blamed for some of the attacks, and they were blamed for looking on while some people were being attacked and they did not do much. But our correspondent assures us that everything is under control, and in a short while, he's sure the results will be declared. I'm told Dr. Ali Deseidu is back on the line. Good evening, Dr. Ali Deseidu. Many thanks for your time. Hello, Dr. Ali Deseidu.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, if you can hear me. The Talensi election has been characterized with a lot of activities, massive activities. And let's look at the violence and the attacks and all of that we've seen in the just ended elections. Would you say that because all the parties were aggressive to grab this seat, that has led us to the situation?
Yeah, I think I have followed the reports of the incidents of violence in the Talensi by-election. And I think all the two major political parties are alleging that they are victims, and whether the other or the opponent is the aggressor in this particular instance. I think a lot of people assume that what is going to happen in Talensi right now is just a dress rehearsal of what will happen in 2016.
Right.
But I don't think so, because one, there is centralization of everything, all the activities of the political parties in just a single constituency. So definitely there is going to be a very little space left for each of these 8 candidates contesting and their supporters to have a leeway to do what they want to do. So when there is over-centralization of personnel, of people, of human beings, of supporters, and of people who seek to be elected,
right,
there is definitely going to be one person stepping on the other's toe, and that's what's going to happen.
Right.
But at the national level in 2016, there will be over 275 people contesting, seats being contested for, and there will also be the national level, presidential level election. So there will be decentralization of people. And I think in 2016, what is going to happen, even if it's going to have incidents of violence, it's not going to be at the level that is occurring now at Talensi.
It will be higher than that.
We have several other parties, and the space is very limited.
Right.
So definitely there's going to be something like that. But I think what is happening is unacceptable,
right,
given the level at which we have come in the democratic processes. I don't think what is happening should be allowed to happen. It's unacceptable, and every individual in this country must condemn it in no uncertain terms.
Well, beyond that, the election went on, and it's ended, and counting is underway. Let's look at the general elections. I mean, in general, what's your impression about the elections?
Yeah, I think those who have been there and those who are very close, personally, I've spoken to colleagues who are on the ground, and they think the electoral processes itself was generally peaceful. I think all the political parties and their polling agents and the candidates and the electorates generally comported themselves very well. The police have been professional up to a point that these disturbances started. So I think generally the election itself has been very peaceful. People who were voting and people who were observing and agents have actually comported themselves very well. They have conducted themselves very well. So I believe the violence is just an isolated cases and not even close to where the elections was being. That I learned it happened close to the MPP regional, constituency headquarters within that particular constituency. So I think generally the election has been very peaceful. and all those who were concerned have comported themselves, except just the few bunch of people who thought that they will have to register their presence by doing what they have done, which is certainly unacceptable in our democratic dispensation.
Well, there have been this argument on the table on whether the Talensi election will have any huge impact on the general elections in 2016. We've heard the president himself coming to say that it will paint or it will set the tone for the 2016 election and all of that. You think is that argument we should be making?
Yeah, I think what the president said was within a context. You see, the president knew that the Talensi seat has been an NDC seat all this while.
Right.
And if you look at the decision that happened in 2012, the MPP won the seat in 2012 because of the personality that contested that seat.
Right.
You see, and if you also look at the historical background in 2012, I think there was also an NDC candidate who was dissatisfied with the primaries and stood as an independent candidate. And generally, people also believe that the general populace in Talensi was fed up with Tia Akologo. So right. It was the decision was based on personality. Okay. The NDC lost on the personality that they filed, and the MPP won on the personality that they filed. Right. And if you look at the margin of victory, it was very slim. It was not that widened. It was not that huge. So going by that, the NDC was sure that maybe if they had changed the personality, and because the MPP was also losing the personality that won them the vote, there's a likelihood that the NDC is going to win the seat. So the president was making this claim or this assumption on the fact that if the NDC won the seat, then it suggests that they will win 2016 election. And if you are listening to Nana Adodonko Akufo-Addo, his statement was also clear and within the context. So he was saying that even if the Talensi seat was originally an NDC seat, right, and the MPP is able to retain that seat, then it suggests that the Ghanaian population are getting fed up with the John Dramani Mahama administration. Okay. So if that happened in Talensi, it could happen nationwide in 2016. A protest vote against the policies and the administration of President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC. And President John Dramani Mahama was also saying that if we win this particular vote, then it suggests that notwithstanding all the allegations leveled against my government that we are not performing, we are incompetent, we still have support among the people. Right. And winning Talensi means that we are definitely going to win in 2016. So I think they were all coming from a perspective and from a context which can be replicated at the national level. That was the assumption. Well,
so there have been other people who have predicted that looking at the history of Talensi, it's likely that the NPP would grab the seat from the NDC, I beg your pardon, will grab the seat from the NPP. Do you agree with that argument?
Yeah, I think it's highly likely because people know that particular seat has been an NDC baby since, you know. And I've already made that point that the reason why the NDC lost that seat to the MPP in 2012 was just a protest vote against the candidates that the NDC filed. And also a confidence vote on the individual who was campaigning on the ticket of the MPP. Right. You know, is it Mr. Robert Sorry has always nurtured the ambition to be the paramount chief, and he has lost on several occasions. Right. So I think it was the confidence that the people had in him. It was just a sort of sympathy vote to compensate him for not being able to ascend to the paramountcy of that particular area. So I think if the candidates change, the dynamics is going to change. Right. And for the fact that it is a traditional NDC seat, if the candidate, if it is no longer Atia Kologo, but somebody that they respect so much or have confidence so much. Right. And on the ticket of the MPP, if it's not somebody that the people have so much traditional affinity to, then it stands to reason that the voter pattern will change or the electorate decision is going to change slightly. Right. But people are also saying the NDC is likely to win it because it has traditionally been an NDC seat, and the vote was in 2012 was just against the individual and not the party.
Okay. And so it's likely that the NDC will come out. We'll find out soon when the EC declares its own results. But finally, let's also look at the fact that the NPP and the NDC have also been battling the seat, and there are lots of activities going on there. There are arguments that even if the NDC wins, maybe the difference will be slight. Is that possible? I think we lost Dr. Ali Seidu there. Many thanks for your time, for your contribution on today's big story. We've been talking the Talensi elections, which has ended and counting underway. We'll be hearing from the Electoral Commission pretty soon, and we'll be hearing who takes the crown, the NPP or the NDC or the other 6 parties who have been campaigning for votes. This is today's big story. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. We'll be back with Joy News Interactive.